Hey there YouTube, this is Darkwalker1990 doing my first YouTube video. Took me a little while to find out what I wanted to do my first YouTube video on, but I've now decided that I wanted to do it on something that's close to my heart and close to a lot of video gamers' hearts, especially if they were around in the 1990s, you know, if they were born in the early 1990s and grew up in that decade, and that is the original grey PlayStation. Absolutely fantastic games console. I thought I'd do a little video on there, touring you around the system, maybe a little review, and maybe even show you a couple of games for it. So this is the PlayStation. This is one of the first games consoles to ship over 100 million units. It was a phenomenal success, and a lot of people had a lot of great memories on this console. The one I'm holding here is a PlayStation that I bought way back in 1996, so that means it's 14 years old, and this indeed is one of the early versions. As you can see back on there, I don't know if you can see it, this is the SCPH1002 version, which is the second revision of this original PlayStation console. I think that this is the revision that had issues with the disk drive inside. If I'm wrong, please correct me on that, but with this console right here, I've never had any issues with that, so maybe I'm just one of the lucky ones. I don't know. So I'll give you a quick tour around the system, and I will maybe even demonstrate some games for you later on. So this is the console, released in 1994 in Japan and 1995 in America and Europe. Like I said, this version's 14 years old. I bought it in 1996. So I'll give you a quick tour around the system. Right on the front here, these are the controller ports. The bottom one's right back here. A 9-pin controller connects into there quite easily. Above them we have the memory card ports. This is where 2 memory cards go. Interestingly, the PlayStation was one of the first consoles to use flash-based memory cards. The memory cards were about 1 megabyte, which I don't know, is probably massive back then. But that's an interesting feature of the PlayStation. Side here is nothing interesting, just some cooling vents. On the back here we have, I don't know if you can see that, the power. Power goes in here, built-in power supply, so your standard power cable will fit in there. The AV multi-in out, your standard red, yellow and white connectors here for the AV. Serial I/O port and the parallel port. Interestingly, quite a few people these days don't know what this parallel port was used for. I used it for like cheats cartridges that would just plug right into the back there. Also, I think this was intended for use for system linking consoles, but I'm not entirely sure on that. If I'm wrong, just correct me on the comments down by there. The top, we have the Sony logo here, classic Sony logo, PlayStation logo. We have the power on, off, reset button by here, and the open disc tray. Inside, this is where the disc is housed. The motor's by here, right back here, where my finger is, that's the laser that reads the disc. And there's nothing interesting on the bottom, just a label and more vents and screw heads if you want to take the system apart. But this is the original PlayStation console itself. Like I said, it's a great console, and you know, one of the main reasons I want to do this video is because there's a whole generation now that haven't played this console, and maybe it'll be interesting for them to see this video gaming back in the old days. So that's one of the main reasons I'm doing this, because it's a great console, and if you call yourself a gamer, you really owe it to yourself to go out and buy one of these and just check it out, because you can get them for quite cheap now. You can buy them in decent condition for about £10, so that's not a bad deal at all. I'll take you through a couple of peripherals now that I have for it. Starting with the DualShock controller. Let me untangle it. This was not the original controller that came with this console. This is a controller I bought quite a few years after I bought the console, because my old controller broke. This was released, I think, a few years after the original PlayStation was released, and as you can tell, it's broken. This analog stick here is broken because, unfortunately, I'm an angry gamer and I tend to throw my controllers around. I'll give you a quick tour around the controller. On the top here we have R1, R2, L1, L2. On the front we have the D-pad and Sony's legendary X, circle, triangle, square buttons, which is symbolic of PlayStation. The analog sticks here, the analog on-off button, which I've never used that for anything. Start and select here. So that's the DualShock controller. It's quite robust. Right at the front here, that's what it looks like at the front. That's where it plugs into there, the 9-pin there, and quite simply plugs into the front like that. The next thing I want to show you is the official Sony SCART lead for this. This is where it plugs into. This is the back. Plugs right into the back. And apart from that, it's just your standard SCART lead. A bit of tape repair there. But yeah, I think this is getting quite rare now. You have to pay quite a bit of money if you want to find one. eBay is probably the best place to look. But a lot of people don't have this now. A lot of people just have the aerial port, the old analog aerial port. I bought this because it has better sound and video quality than running through the PlayStation. And the last thing is just your standard power thing. This is not the original one. The original one was dark green, and I think it had Sony written right by here. I've still got that somewhere around this house. I can't be bothered to find it, but this one works absolutely fine. That's the connector for the back there. You get that with most appliances now. I just took it off my external hard drive. I'll show you a couple of games I have for it. These are by no means all the games I have. These are the only ones that I have with me right now. First one, I don't know if you can see that. I can get the case open. Demo number 1. This comes boxed with all European PlayStations, I think. And it has some tech demos, with the T-Rex and the Manta Ray. Also has some game videos and some game demos. And also an interesting visualizer is on this CD as well. Something that I've wondered about for years. These are standard CDs, but I've always wondered why they're black. So if somebody can just answer that comment right down there, I'll be interested to find that out. Tomb Raider 2. The case got smashed for this years ago, so I have to put it in standard dual case. We have Wipeout 2097. Probably by far the best game in the Wipeout series. Has an amazing soundtrack, like Cold Storage, The Prodigy, Chemical Brothers. Absolutely amazing. And something that should be in every gamer's collection. The best game of all time, Final Fantasy VII. Amazing game. I picked this up for about 20 quid, and it's in mint condition. Well, near mint. Absolutely amazing game. You owe it to yourself as a gamer to play this game. So if you haven't played it, buy yourself a PlayStation, buy yourself a copy of this game, and give it a go. You will not regret it. Okay, so that's a tour around the PlayStation. I'm going to set it up now and give you a demonstration of a couple of games. So click on part 2. It should be on the side, somewhere there or there. I don't know. Everything's backwards for me right now. Yeah, okay. I'll see you in a bit.